Hello, here I'm playing Aristal, or Tim, and in the final match of Shuffle Bus Season 5, I'm playing my Aradel deck, and he is bringing Brennan, and Brennan with an aggressive burn deck. I need to um, get damage in faster than he gets damage into me, so this goes back to my typical game plan of Frostback Bear, Mortal Commander, Widows, and Raptor Herder, but I decide to bring in as my second book the Blue Jaguar, because he has one or two units that he could bring in that would potentially block my bear, like a Master Vampire. I'm kind of expecting him to start a chant, a Frostbite, Salamander Monk, Master Vampire, and Final Cry. Those are the 5 cards I expect him to bring. I got 4 out of the 5 right. Instead of a Final Cry, he brought a Fire Archer, and that Fire Archer was pretty critical to the damage dealt. Now, after we roll dice here, he does have the most basics, so he chooses himself to go first. Had I got the opportunity, generally I like to let the other person go first, so I get end of round, top of round swings. But not wanting Brennan to get those quick burns, I would have taken first player on this one. So he's setting up his deck, choosing his final first 5 here. He rolls 4 basics to my 2. Now, other than the one nature basics that I got to meditate up for a Frostbite Bear book, I'm really happy with that roll. Can't get much better than that. So he starts off here with the Fire Archer to deal damage and a Chant of Revenge. So I meditate Frostbite Bear, well, Nature Dice. I meditate away a Fester, and then I play the Bear book. Now the game probably is pretty fast. I probably wouldn't even have to go in and edit and chop out the long thingy parts. We're at it from the start here. He's very aggressive on his go again, sending in the Fire Archer to attack for a 3rd point of damage, and then doing a Spirit Burn for a total of 4 points of damage right off the bat on his 2nd turn, and a charged Chant of Revenge. But his board's clear, so to me, this is playing in my advantage. He's not going to have anyone out, and I can bring a wide board. So here comes my bear, and then I ship it back to him. And as expected, he brings out his Master Vampire. Now, the only 2 units that he brings that are of any worry to me is the Crimson Bomber, which he has 3 of them, which he can take out a lot of my units. And there he meditates one of those 3 Crimson Bombers. So I'm feeling all right about that. He's getting his dice ready to bring out one of his 3 Master Vampires. Now the Vampire poses a big threat here because it helps him heal, and it stalks. So I go ahead and play the Jaguar book and send it back. Because now I'm not in a rush to burn all my dice. I'm ahead on dice. But I know that with the Widows that it'll get pretty expensive. I'll exhaust those dice quickly. It brings a Salamander book. I wondered if he would attack into my bear just to get rid of it. It wouldn't heal him any, but it would at least get a bit of damage in, or get rid of a unit of mine. So I'm seeing which dice I don't need, which is 1 ceremonial and 1 divine dice, and bring out the blue jaguar. And again, I was really hoping that he would stalk and kill one of the units, so we get the widows online. Actually, I think the widows play is probably my biggest downfall. I think I played my widows later on too early. I think other than that, it was pretty much what was mostly seemed like an error-free game for me. So he meditates again. He brings out the Frostbite book. So I'm going to bring the Raptor Herder and the Immortal Commander. So now my board's filled pretty good. He has no cards in hand. He does have a Salamander that he can bring out and a Frostbite onto a unit or directly to Aradel. So there's the Salamander Monk. So I use the Immortal Commander's ability here and give everyone a +1. I want to attack Brennan with everybody. So I'm debating of, do I block or gaze the vampire, and that way all of my units can pretty well swing through, but you know, he'll still block somebody with the monk. So I decide to gaze the monk. That way he has to use the vampire as the blocker. Because right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage coming to face, with the monk not being able to chump block like the herder. So at least we're going to get some damage in. I do have Water Blast online, so the next turn I can get rid of the vampire. So he starts to put the vampire in front of the hatchling, and he changes his mind and puts it in front of the bear, so he'll kill off the bear. He would have killed the hatchling too, but he also has a frostbite that he can use to kill the hatchling. So the bear is destroyed, and I go ahead and bring out the widows there. I think I should have waited. The dice are ready. He has a card on board to attack with. There's the archer that came back out again that he recurred. So there's another damage onto Aradel. He discards or meditates a blood chains. Now, my 2 attack units are 1 health, and they're not going to bypass his 2 attack units. So he just frog pinged or meditated up for a frog. So either way, I'm going to get a frostbite to the face, or he's going to frostbite one of my spiders and then attack for 1 damage. So I go ahead and attack. Now, when he kills the spider here, he gets an unexhausted monk spirit that he gets an attack in for 1 damage, and then he gets to frostbite for 1 additional damage. I wasn't kind of thinking about that monk getting a second attack. I was too hasty on both the play and the attacking. So my 2 spiders, all it ended up doing is blocking 1 damage. Now his monk spirit tried to kill off the hatchling, and I blocked with Aradel, which caused him to spend his dice to kill the hatchling. Either way, I would have taken 1 damage, because had I allowed it to kill my hatchling, he would have used the dice for a frostbite to face. Or so I think. He might have used it on the hatchling. Probably would have preferred him using it on the hatchling. He's burning pretty quick already. I'm pretty happy with this draw. I do start the turn. I have another Immortal Commander, in case he stalks that one. A Fire Archer, Final Cry, and a Bomber. Now, I did not bring out a bear there. Maybe I should have. But I got 1 more additional damage in. At this point in time, I think I feel like I still have time. I don't feel like I need to rush. And now I'm meditating. He used Sympathy Pain on me there to deal damage when I use the Fire Archer. So I meditate up for the 2nd Immortal Commander just in case. And I've already meditated both of my Festers, which isn't so much of a big deal, and both of my Widows, which hurt because I like my Widows. Well, I meditated away the 2nd Widow, I should say. I think Widows and Immortal Commander is a great little combination for 6 damage. If you play it right. So he meditates a Blood Chains to get his Molten Gold online, a Choke, and a Fester. Then he meditates 1 additional Crimson Bomber. So he's gotten rid of 2 Crimson Bombers so far, so I like that. The Bomber's explosion ability wipes out 3 of my units. Well, 2 of my units that are on board at least. And he brings out a Salamander Monk. So there I bring out the bear. Now he has dice up for like a Final Cry. Final Cry, Molten Gold, and to Spirit Burn me. So right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. And, you know, that takes me pretty close to dead. So he brings the the Bomber, which is a 3/2 unit. And then he recurs the Fire Archer back into his hand again, taking a damage to do so. So I Water Blast the Fire Archer, charging up his chant, and then he Final Cries me. So now I'm at 11 damage. 5 away from me, 9 away from him, because Brennan has 19 health. But, looking at my board here, if I am Immortal Commander, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage coming in. That's 19. What did I do? I had the game right there. I had the game right there. Because I could have gazed. Because I was thinking he could block with the Salamander Monk. And it would only get me to 18. But had I gazed the Salamander Monk, his Monk Spirit is unblockable. 9 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. He's at 10. That would have won the game. So I missed it. I miscalculated. And what happens is I went ahead and put a Molten or Massive Growth on the bear because there's nothing to stop the bear that he had. I felt pretty confident about that. And then he fire archered. No, wait, he molten gold me. And then he spirit burned for the last 6 damage. He also slipped in a final cry there at the very end too. So he molten gold, spirit burn, final cry for the final like 7 damage there, 6 damage. But yeah, I missed that one. Had I won this match, I would have been 4-2 and probably top 10 overall. But that mistake was quite costly and drops me to a 3-3 record, which for my shuffle bus seasons, it's quite the success for me. I started off in the AIL. My first match was my first AIL match. So my first Ashes match was my first match in AIL. And, it took a while to get the handle of the game, especially against such real quality players. So I'm doing better, and I'm really still loving the game. But obviously, I still have some work to do on my math skills. All right, guys, I'm looking forward to Shuffle Bus 6. See ya.